I'm going to take you through my 3 non-negotiables to help myself feel like the most badass version of myself. So I don't care how little time you have in your life. I don't care how many responsibilities you have. We all have them. You need to make sure that you work out. You need to make sure that you specifically lift weights. Number 2, the most underrated skincare that people don't talk about enough. It's not a product, but it's something that really makes your skin look good. And that is, drumroll please, sleep. Let's go to number 3. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I don't have like a 17-step skincare routine. I don't do double, triple, fourple cleansing all the time. What I do, however, is inject. Hello, and welcome to this week's CATAMANIA episode, solo-sode. I got, as per usual, in the last little while, many questions about, wellness routine, what I do on a daily basis. I feel like the daily life or day in my life or whatever videos, I just have never been able to jump on that trend. It's just not really my thing, But I do want to give an honest breakdown as to things that, work for me, things that I find helpful, things that, quite honestly, as cheesy as it sounds, make me feel like the best version of myself. Because, I mainly have females in my audience, so I'm going to address this to girls. Girls, don't we all want to be the most fabulous versions of ourselves? We really do. And there are a few things that I unapologetically, truthfully, honestly do to help myself feel like the most badass version of myself. So I'm going to take you through them today. I have with me, next to me here, my friend sitting next to me, my friend. Sometimes I wonder how on earth I actually have a podcast, because do you hear this? Like my voice and the words are just like blah, 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 blah. I also genuinely don't love doing these because I'm talking to a camera. And when you're talking to a camera, there's not a whole lot of feedback from the camera. I know there's feedback from you all who are listening to this, but during the recording, there's not a lot of feedback. So it's a little bit tougher. That's why I brought my friend here. So she's smiling nicely at me, and she may be commenting here and there with certain things, maybe reminding me not to talk bullshit. But, we're going to roll with this. So I'm going to take you through my 3 non-negotiables of feeling good, of things that make me feel good. I guess we'll, put it in the category of wellness things that I do that really help me stay on top of it and really help me feel my best. Okay, are you ready? I'm looking at the time here to make sure we don't go overboard, because I don't want to, bore you guys with all of this stuff. But let's get into it. Number 1, your body will not tone itself. You know that. If you follow me, you've seen that. On a daily basis, I remind you that your body won't tone itself. And that is the truth. You have to work out. I don't care how little time you have in your life. I don't care how many responsibilities you have. We all have them. You need to make sure that you work out. You need to make sure that you specifically lift weights when you're supposed to be lifting weights during your cycle. I'll get into that in a second because I follow a particular program, so to speak, of workouts. But you have to prioritize your body. And there's all sorts of debates out there, well, is walking enough? Is this enough? Is that enough? For me personally, doing a little bit of everything is enough. So I have been, for the past 3 years, following a cycle syncing approach, which just means I'm working out with my cycle. Because as women, those of us who have a cycle, if you're on birth control, this might not apply to you. And, I've talked about this on so many occasions. But as women, we have a cycle. We're very different from men, no matter how much, we try to sometimes be like men. But we are very different. We have a 28-day cycle, and our hormones fluctuate from pretty much day to day, and more significantly, from week to week. And there are weeks when you shouldn't be lifting weights because your body's going through a lot during your menstrual phase. You're so tired. Your body's literally bleeding. Oh my God. Like, your body's bleeding, and If I try to lift weights or do any cardio during that time, forget about it. It's really heavy on my body. It's really hard on my body. If it works for you, I don't know, you're whatever, superhuman, continue to do it. It does not work for me. So I tone it down, like all the way down during my menstrual phase. I typically tend to stretch a lot during that week. And that's it. I don't lift weights. I don't do cardio. I stretch a lot during that week. I'll go for walks. I'll do like light workouts, but that's it. Then when you are in your follicular phase, which is your next phase, your awakening phase, you start to work out a little bit, with a little bit more intensity. And usually that'll look like maybe more upper body workouts, maybe more weights incorporated, but nothing crazy. Then when you go into your ovulatory phase, that's when you really want to do your HIIT workouts, your weightlifting, your cardio, like heavy cardio workouts. Sometimes I'll go on the elliptical at the gym for 15 to 20 minutes just to really get my heart rate up, because that's when your hormones are at its peak. That's when we have the most amount of testosterone in our system. So that's when you want to have the most amount of output. And then in your luteal phase, which is right before your menstrual phase, is when you want to tone it down a little bit and maybe go for more mindful movements, but not as intense as it was in your ovulatory phase. So this is something that's been working out for me for the past 3 years. I have seen a really significant result in my body in the sense of, more pronounced muscle mass, just better physique in general. And, I eat very clean, but I don't obsess over things. I have a glass of wine here and there. My friend is laughing because she knows how much wine I have. Wine is my guilty pleasure. I will have wine often. But other than that, I eat fairly clean, but I don't really obsess over my diet. But working out is my non-negotiable. So on days when, for example, I know that I'm just being lazy, I'm not, around my period and my body is not going through a lot, I'm just literally being lazy, I don't feel like it. You know what I do? I get up and I go for a workout. Because the hardest thing is to force yourself to get up. That getting up, getting your jopa up, getting your ass up from the couch, that is the hardest thing. Once you're up, it's easy. Once you're at the gym, oh my God, we're good. But you have to force yourself to get your ass up and work out, because your body won't tone itself. And we all want to have a slim, beautiful body, because it's nice to be in a slim, beautiful body. It feels good. And what feels good looks good. What looks good feels good. We should insert a little circle here. So that's my number one non-negotiable. No matter if I'm traveling, no matter if I am going through a hard time, no matter if there's a lot on my plate, that's a non-negotiable. I work out. And for those of you who work, in the corporate world, I've mentioned to you on numerous occasions, I've been there. Wake up earlier. I know it's hard, but wake up earlier, or go to the gym during your lunch hour, or go to the gym after work. It is crucial for you to work out.
What time did you say you used to wake up?
I used to wake up at 4:45 in the morning to go to the gym when I was working in the corporate. So don't come at me with your excuses, okay? Okay. Let me take a sip of this sparkling water. Yeah, you got to figure out your routine. Nobody's going to figure it out for you. People make it happen. Again, when I was working in the corporate world, my manager had four kids, and she worked out. You find a way to make it happen. Build a system in place, because nobody's going to do it for you. Your body will literally not tone itself. And if you neglect it for long enough, you're going to have a much bigger issue to deal with after. It's going to be much tougher for you to retone the body. So that's number one. Number two, which I would say probably is the most underrated skincare point that people don't talk about enough. Maybe people do, I don't know. I haven't seen it be talked about that much. It's not a product, but it's something that really makes your skin look good. And that is, drumroll please, sleep. Literally, have you noticed how good your skin feels and how much better and refreshed you look when you get a good night's sleep? If you consistently get good night's sleep, let's say you sleep really well for 5 nights. I don't know about you, but I literally look younger. I look more refreshed. I look like my skin looks more plumped. Sleep does wonders, and it is arguably the most important thing, together with working out, to really optimize everything in your life. I've talked about this on numerous occasions, but sleep will affect every area of your life. And I think that in this part of the world in particular, there has been, especially, if you do work in the corporate world, I've experienced it myself. There is such a huge level of neglect towards sleep. People almost pride themselves in the fact that they don't get enough sleep. People almost, like if you tell someone, if you share, like I remember sharing that literally with my coworkers and being like, oh, I just feel so tired. And they would compare how much more tired they are. And it's almost like a point of pride together with, vacation taking, for example, here in this part of the world. For whatever reason, people here pride themselves in not getting enough rest, which is not good. I have a friend and I had her on my podcast twice, who is a sleep expert. And she was telling me that it's something crazy. Like one night of bad sleep will have really negative effects on you. And, life happens. We all understand that it's not going to be ideal all the time, but prioritizing sleep is crucial for your focus levels, for your ability to function in every area of your life, in your relationships, in your friendships, and just feeling good. Cognitive function, again, goes back to focus. If you sleep well, everything else in life will start falling into place. And quite on the contrary, if you don't sleep well, the opposite will happen, right? Everything else, like dominoes effect. Now, this is coming from someone, by the way, who I have had historically major issues with sleep. Anything that could disrupt my sleep will disrupt it. I was talking about wine earlier. If I have one extra glass of wine, not even a glass, half a glass, I will not sleep that night. Not only will I not sleep that night, but I will get like a borderline panic attack in the middle of the night. My heart will start racing. I will have all sorts of thoughts in my brain. Some people drink wine and they are able to go to sleep no problem. I think she's sitting across from me actually right now at this table. I'm not one of those people. If I have like 1.5 to 2 glasses, I'll be okay. But if I have like that just a little bit extra, that's it. Anything else, scrolling on my phone, looking at my phone before bed will affect it. Stop scrolling. Like that's such an easy thing to do, but we obviously, I understand we all do it sometimes, but it's such an easy thing to eliminate. And then going back to the issues that I have had with sleep, many of you know I'm married, and I have had really bad issues with just sleeping in the same bed with my husband. It's pretty crazy actually, because, sometimes you have to sleep in the same bed. You don't have an option to sleep in separate bedrooms. And it was affecting us so badly because anything, again, that could disrupt my sleep will disrupt it. So him breathing too loud will affect my sleep. Him not sleeping well and fidgeting will affect my sleep. He has very different preferences. I've spoken about this, before in my content. He has very different preferences from me. He has different temperature preferences when he goes to sleep. So it was an issue for a really long time. And for a while there, I was like, well, maybe that's it. Maybe sleep is not that important. And, you try to convince yourself, it's like, I don't need that much sleep, or I don't need to sleep well, whatever. I function well. But then, we would go somewhere where I would get a good night's sleep, or I would occasionally get a good night's sleep. And I'd be like, oh my God, I feel so much better. So I realized that sleep is not, sleep is first of all a great skincare thing. And then after that, it affects every other area of my life. So I was like, I need to do something about this. I need to figure this out. And I recently discovered something that has been an absolute game changer. So if you are listening to this and you're like, this all sounds great, sure, sleep is important, but I can't. I have issues with sleep, or Christina, like you, I'm a light sleeper, which I feel for you, but I did find something that has allowed me to maintain my marriage, not just maintain, but, have a really good marriage, continue to have a good marriage, because it's ridiculous how much sleep affects your marriage, because you get so grumpy and irritable. Like, I'd be so irritable with my husband. He's not here, so, it's probably a good thing. But I found this thing called The Pod by a company called 8 Sleep. And it's essentially a pod that goes over your mattress, on your existing mattress, on your existing bed. And you have ability to set it up separately for each of you. So for your partner and for yourself, to your temperature preferences. And you're also able to set up your own alarm that will wake you up but not wake your partner up, because my husband and I had different schedules very often. And you're all able to do that separately while still being in the same bed. Then what else it does is it learns your sleep patterns, and it has an autopilot that adjusts it automatically. So before you go to bed every night, my 8 Sleep cat sleep notification pops up on my phone saying autopilot is getting your bed ready for sleep. So it adjusts the temperature from my side. I prefer it a little bit warmer than my husband. So it adjusts it to a temperature that I set it at, and it adjusts it for my husband separately while we're still in the same bed. So this thing has been an absolute game changer for me. I have been sleeping well ever since I got it. So every night, unless I have a little bit too much wine, which doesn't happen that often, but sometimes it happens. But even then, like, the temperature control is so important, because as many of you may be aware, you need to have your temperature just a little bit lower than feels maybe comfortable for you to get a good night's sleep. So it's been an absolute game changer. I have had consistently a really good night's sleep since we got it. And, my skin feels really good as well, because I'm getting consistently good night's sleep. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. Sometimes, I have to pinch myself, especially when I feel a little bit, I don't know, stressed out about something, or something is getting to me. I have to remind myself, like, what a time to be alive. I had troubles with sleep that got instantly, well, maybe not instantly, because the pod shipped, I think, for like, a couple to a few days that I had to wait for it. But fairly instantly, I got a solution to my sleep problem. And this solution is freaking amazing. So what a time to be alive. So if you're, struggling with your sleep, take a look into the pod, because it's phenomenal. And for the love of God, believe me when I say, you need to make sure you get a good night's sleep. So that's the second point. Work out, sleep, which, by the way, those two are connected. If you get a good night's sleep, your workout performance is good. It's much better. And then if you don't get a good night's sleep, your recovery is not going to be as good. So even if you do a really good workout at the gym, you somehow gain the energy, your recovery is not going to be nearly as good. You might not even recover, by the way, if you get a really shitty night's sleep and you go really hard at the gym. So those two go hand in hand. Sleep, a workout. And let's go to number 3. What helps me feel fabulous, like the most badass version of myself. What was it that I was going to say, actually? I can't remember now. Oh, let's talk about things that make me look good. Okay? Like, things that make me look good. Aside from sleep, that's like the basics, right? The sleep, and then working out physically. Let's talk about face and skincare routine that is external, right? Because there's certain things that externally you need to do. First, you start internally, your nutrition, workouts, sleep. But what is it externally that I do? I'm going to be very honest with you. I am definitely not one of those influencers who's going to tell you that, I use facial tapes or whatever they are, Scotch tapes that you see everywhere these days. Because I don't use them. And I do use good products for my skin. I'm very picky about what I use. It has to be, really good. But I don't have like a 17-step skincare routine. I don't do double, triple, fourple cleansing all the time. Like, I take care of my skin. I do skincare, but it's, I don't do as much as I think maybe people expect me to very often. What I do, however, and what I absolutely love is injectables. And I think that there's such a stigma around it to the point of some of these influencers who sell you those scotch tapes that you put on your face. Not all, but some of them definitely have Botox. Like, trust me when I say this, that they have Botox. I love Botox. I do it once every 6 months. I'm very lucky that my Botox lasts that long. And what else do I do? Yeah, so Botox is the thing that I do every 6 months. I touch up my lips once a year. And then I do this like rejuvenating treatment called RS Long Lasting. I don't know if they have it in North America. I need to look into it, but I do that back home, the RS Long Lasting thing. Because back home, their level of beauty industry is insane. There's great injectors, obviously, everywhere, everywhere you are in North America. I have a great one in Vancouver. I've mentioned to you guys on numerous occasions, but I'm not going to hide it. Like, I get stuff done. My forehead is not going to be probably this, or wouldn't be this smooth, wrinkle-free if I wasn't getting Botox. I have very active like muscles in my face. So if I don't have it, like, I'm very, very expressive. I'm not one of those people. There are people who are not very expressive, and I kind of like low-key sometimes envy them, but it's not me. I'm very expressive. So without the Botox, I would get wrinkles. And I'm going to be very honest with you about the stuff that I do because I like it. I'm not saying that you should go get it. I'm not saying everyone should go get it, but I don't understand why there's such a hate towards it. And I don't understand why people get so defensive and I don't even know what the right word would be, like aggressive towards those who get it. And I always thought about it this way. Like, wouldn't you rather hear from people who get it that honestly they get it, as opposed to them lying to you? Like, I don't understand this whole, stigma around it and people criticizing each other for it, but I get it. And it looks really great. I love the way my face looks after it. And I recently learned that Botox is really good for your skin as well. So not just, for wrinkle prevention, because that's what we know it is good for, but it contributes to all sorts of good things for your skin, which is why, like, for example, when I get it, I notice that my skin literally becomes like more smooth, not just wrinkle wise, but it just looks much more smooth and like glassy. Is that the right word? Glossy, glassy, whatever the word is. So I definitely indulge into injectables, and they work great for me. And I am going to vow to you that I will continue to be honest. I will not, if I quit it, I'll quit it for whatever reason. I don't foresee myself ever quitting it, but I'm definitely not going to, come on my social media and tell you that this is all natural when it is not, because I know that there's a lot of that out there. So I've taken you through 3 things, 3 non-negotiables and musts that I have. And other than that, I don't think I can think of any other ones right this minute, and especially considering that we're at our time. But if you do want to find out more, I get usually DMs and questions from you regarding this, but maybe, drop a comment under this episode. Let me know if there's anything else that I can share with you that helps, because you and I and everyone deserves to be the most badass version of ourselves. And it all starts with our habits and the things that we do to optimize the areas of our life. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I will see you next week.